Assalamu alaikum. My name is Iman Khan, and I'm going to read now The Search for Truth from the book Tell Me About the Prophet Muhammad. What the Prophet's message is, why his life is so important, and what he teaches us. The Search for Truth. The Prophet Muhammad's marriage to Khadijah gave him every opportunity to lead a comfortable life as a wealthy and respected noble of Mecca. And indeed, for a few years Muhammad, peace be upon him, did lead a calm and quiet life as a merchant. But he soon gave up all worldly activity and set himself searching for the truth. Instead of meeting people all the time, in their homes and at gatherings, and trying to gain himself a position among the nobles of Mecca, Muhammad, peace be upon him, would wander into the barren hills of the desert. He would sit for hours and ponder the mysteries of creation. The vast silence of the desert, with endless sand and sky, and at night equally endless darkness, alive only with the twinkling of millions and millions of tiny stars, seemed to bring one very close to the Creator. Often Muhammad, peace be upon him, would stay alone for days in the cave of Hira, which is near the top of Jabal al-Nur, or the Mountain of Light, 3 miles from Mecca. He would return home only for more supplies of food and water, and then go back to the solitude of nature to pray and meditate, asking the Maker of the heavens and the earth for answers to the questions that surged in his mind. What is man's true role in life? What does the Lord require of us as his servants? From where does man come, and where will he go after death? On the 12th of February, 610 A.D., Muhammad, peace be upon him, now 40 years of age, went to the cave of Hira to spend Ramadan, the traditional month of retreat. He was sitting all alone in this cave when an extraordinary experience happened. This is called the Night of Destiny. Suddenly, after many days of meditation, the archangel Gabriel appeared before Muhammad, peace be upon him, in human form. "Read," commanded the angel. "I cannot read," Muhammad, peace be upon him, protested. So the angel held Muhammad, peace be upon him, tightly by the shoulders, shook him, and taught him these words: "Read, in the name of your Lord who created man from a clot. Read, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught man what he did not know." These were the first words of the Holy Quran. Muhammad, peace be upon him, felt these lines actually written on his heart. But the experience left him surprised and confused. He even felt he might be falling ill. He rushed back to his wife Khadijah, who comforted him. She took him to her cousin Warqa, who told him that the revelation he had was from the same source as the messages of the prophets of Moses, peace be upon him, and Isa, or Jesus, peace be upon him. Gradually he began to understand. His quest had finally been rewarded. His restless, searching soul had been joined with his Lord. Now Allah not only gave him guidance, but he also chose Muhammad, peace be upon him, as his prophet and a special messenger, to bring his word to a world that had gone badly astray. It was a tremendous responsibility, but Muhammad, peace be upon him, far from becoming vain or proud, remained as good and humble man as ever. He continued to receive divine revelations from time to time over the next 23 years, when the archangel Gabriel would come to him in different forms, sometimes huge and filling the horizon, and sometimes just a pair of eyes watching him. Sometimes he remained invisible. Occasionally only his voice could be heard. Sometimes the voice was muffled, like a ringing in his head, but the meaning was always clear. Muhammad, peace be upon him, could neither make the revelations happen nor stop them. They might happen while he was making a speech, while sitting, while praying, or even while riding his camel. He always knew when they were about to happen, and his companions could see the change come over him. He would fall silent, and normally lay down covered in his cloak. His face might become red, and he would perspire profusely, even on cold days. His companions said if you were near him, you could hear something like humming around his face. The experience of the revelations always seemed to make the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, feel close to death, as if he was leaving his body and might never return. Not once did I receive a revelation without thinking that my soul had been torn away, said the Prophet. At the end of the experience, Muhammad, peace be upon him, would return to normal and recite the new verses of the Quran. His companions were instructed to record them. Real quick, I'm going to go ahead and include some other information that is also contained under the search for truth. And it is the laws of Islam. Here are some of the laws which the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught his followers. Control your anger, then forgive your brother. Do you not wish to be forgiven? Do not hate each other, envy each other, or provoke each other. Do not spy on each other or betray each other's trust. Do not speak ill of your friend behind his back. Give the laborer his wages before his sweat dries. Do not drink alcohol and do not gamble. It opens the door to the devil. Do not steal the property of another. Do not cheat each other. Do not charge interest on money loaned to those who need it. Do not take part in corrupt practices or do anything of which you would be ashamed if it became known. Do not reveal your friends' weaknesses. Cover up their failings if you wish God to cover up yours. Do not pay bribes to get what is not lawfully yours. Do not be cruel to animals. Gladden the heart of the afflicted, feed the hungry, give comfort to the sorrowful, and remove the wrongs of the injured. Those are just a few of the laws of Islam that have been shared by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I'm going to read the Quran, a supreme miracle. This is found under the Night of Destiny, which I just shared with you. The Quran, a supreme miracle. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, faced many people in his lifetime who did not believe him. They challenged him to work a miracle like the Prophet Isa, or Jesus, peace be upon him, in order to prove that God had really sent him as a messenger. This he did not do. He retorted that it was quite unnecessary, as the Quran itself was a supreme miracle. If anyone doubted it, let them try to compose 10 surahs that would bear comparison with it. Produce 10 inventive chapters like it. Call on whom you will among your idols, if what you say be true. 11:12. He also pointed out that there were obvious signs of God everywhere, in the beauty of nature, in life-giving water, in the growth of crops, and in the miracle of birth. The entire universe, in fact, was proof of his existence as the creator and the sustainer. Allah's message to his people, or to his prophets, was made directly through the angel Gabriel. The Quran is the final revelation made to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. There were 2 main ways in which the revelations came to him. Sometimes the angel Gabriel would reveal the verses of the Quran as one man to another. This way it was easy, but at other times it was like the ringing of a bell piercing his heart and tearing him apart. This method was very hard and painful. The revelation of the Quran started when the Prophet, peace be upon him, was 40 years old, and continued in parts throughout his life. The last revelation of the Quran came only a few months before his death, when the Prophet, peace be upon him, was 63 years of age. So there we know that the revelation of the Quran came to the Prophet when the Prophet was 40 years old, and the last of it came just before his death, and the Prophet, peace be upon him, died at